Access Channel 9 from the City Hall Council Chambers. It's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
What's that, here's Johnny or something? This is Councilman Kaz-Kwiatkowski and his good friend.
DJ Barker.
Hey, you're kind of like the, what was that guy's name?
Oh my goodness.
When they had Johnny Carson and...
Why do I not? Ed.
Ed.
I am Ed.
So I see you got 2 notebooks. Is that like...
I got 2 notebooks. This is stuff. I've been collecting up notes from the past couple of meetings, and then I forget a book here and there. So I just have stuff written down, and we'll go forward, and once we start taking calls, maybe I can sort this out and figure out if I have any questions. It's wet.
Wet.
Moist. It's moist. I'm going to have to start digging out the winter clothing.
I saw those clouds over the lake, and I said, uh-oh.
Did they look really sharp and dark and ominous?
If it had been November, you'd said, snow.
You know what? I think it's because of Canada. I blame Canada for all the bad weather. We need to build a wall between us and Canada.
Well, think about it. They gave us the Alberta Clipper, right?
Yeah.
Who's
Seriously?
that?
No, I was...
They gave us the Alberta Clipper and...
Did you catch the reference? We need to build a wall between us and Canada, and we're going to make them pay for it.
With what? Hey, wait a minute. I don't want no wall, because, hey, you know what? I want my Tim Hortons.
Oh, yeah, Tim Hortons is awesome. Yeah. And they're also a good influence on us when it comes to energy. Recyclables, energy. Canada's all about doing the wind thing, which, you know, I'm into, so...
Canadians are nice people, too.
Canadians are okay, eh? Even though they live in igloos and drive sled dogs, they're all pretty cool. I know some Canadians.
You got to go pretty far up north to see the sled dogs, though.
That's a false thing that people think that you just, as soon as you cross the border, it's just a wall of snow and there's sled dogs.
They also have the impression that it's an extension of America.
Yeah.
They sometimes forget it's another country.
It's definitely another country.
But, no, driving down there today, there was...
Yeah.
Traffic was a little... I saw something funny today.
What'd you see?
You got to see the humor in this one. Now, there's an intersection very prominent near you on the east side where you have to make a left-hand turn.
Okay.
But there's no turning arrow. So typical of most people, somebody just hits the old gas pedal and prays that they don't hit somebody.
Yeah.
That's in the right.
Yeah. Is there a hill involved in this intersection?
No.
No, that's not what I thought.
But what was great about this story, it involves an insurance company. There's their vehicle.
Oh.
Doing an illegal turn.
Oh.
I would have loved to have seen that accident. Let's see, how would they have ruled?
Oh, I don't know.
It's a big insurance company.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're good people, though.
They are good people,
they
but
pay
I saw the irony in one of their blue and white cars making a turn that best be said was, you know, they teach you to kind of wait until the intersection clears.
It was questionable.
What, do you have a note from somebody?
No, I was just checking. Just so everybody knows, today is Monday, September 26th, and we're live. Give us a call right now.
I had somebody call me on a Sunday. This was great.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I don't think she realized, the lady, that the show was taped.
Yeah.
On Sunday. But I was going to call you up. I said, you know, maybe you and I should come down here and answer the phone.
I was in town. I was actually in town this week. I had stuff to do.
Maybe we should have a camp out here on Sunday. What do you think?
We could. If you can get me in, I can put us on the air.
Well, we might not be on the air, but, you know. We could sit wait for the phone to ring, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting. It's live.
I think, yep. Geez, not even John called. That's not good.
Yeah, I got a phone call from one of your buddies last week, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me a call, talked to me at CAT for a while. He seems to be a good guy.
What did he need?
I forget. I think he was asking me some TV rules or something, and then he just talked my ear off for a while. Seems like a nice guy.
Well, we're getting a lot of questions on TV, especially with the merger coming.
Yep, Time Warner is now becoming Spectrum. When you called up their system now, it says Time Warner, now Spectrum. So they're actually switching the name over. It won't even be called Time Warner. So at some point, it'll just be Spectrum.
I just hope we don't get hosed somehow in this makeover.
I hope not, because there's, of course, CAT has to worry about any new rules that they want. Maybe they don't like cable access and they, want to shut us down or something. That would be terrible.
That's an interesting subject. Because
or the rights of way.
That was something granted under the previous contract.
Yeah, so we have to find out if that's going to be something that has to change. So it could be some scary times ahead.
It always seems like there's scary times.
There's always something. It's not like every day is safe. It's like you get a couple of days and then something horrible happens and then you're okay and then something horrible happens. It's never good for a long period of time.
Somebody called up last week and they want to know about McDonald's, and geez, all of a sudden the question was answered.
What? I didn't catch that. What happened with that McDonald's?
They tore it down and they're rebuilding it.
I figured.
But go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kev.
Hey, I was saying, Lloyd.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, have you came down Peach Street lately?
Which part?
56 and...
Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, we're up around 50-something?
Yeah. Long John Silver's gone.
Oh, yeah, they announced that on TV. That's a Mill Creek thing, and...
yeah, after 43 years.
Well, LECOM wants that land. They, it sounds like LECOM's making that part of their campus, and so they must have brought the property, and probably Long John Silver. A lot of those chains, Lloyd, don't own the land. They lease it. Did you know that, or?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, not everybody buys, sometimes McDonald's will buy some land, but I know a guy in another town that makes a nice living off the lease he has with McDonald's. And it's like a 50-year lease or something.
Wow.
But, I mean, he gets more money there than he would if he, sold it.
Yeah, did you see the new McDonald's they built on Elm?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I guess they have to make changes every once in a while, and that was...
It was facing the wrong way.
Why? Which way is it facing?
The new way going to face Elm.
It's going to face which way?
All right.
Which way is it facing?
Not 26th Street, the other way.
Oh.
Opposite way.
Well, it's interesting, but I can remember years ago they, like the original one on Peach Street was moved at least once. So that's not unusual for McDonald's to go in there and rebuild, but...
The one down here or upper?
The one on, in Erie.
In Erie, down
that
here.
That was on what we call Lower Peach, like? Yeah. Not down here.
Yeah.
But up around like 38th Street, Liberty Plaza area.
Oh, I didn't even know there was one there.
Well, there's one just, it's not 38th, it's...
45th.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the original one in Erie.
Yeah.
And
did you notice Mario Bagnoli house you ripped down?
Yep, I heard a rumor. What did they? They said somebody. It wasn't Perkins either. Somebody else bought it. It's going to be an auto store. We heard.
O'Reilly's.
Yep, that's what my bet is. O'Reilly's is getting big in Erie.
Yeah. The rumors are him and his wife divorced in the father-in-law.
Pardon?
The rumors are that come to the husband and wife separated, and the father wanted to appeal against them, the operation.
Oh, really? You mean for O'Reilly's?
Yeah.
It's interesting that we're getting a few restaurants and stuff, but man, I'd still like to see him do something up at Grandview Plaza. It was good news. We got that call last week about Sears going under, and my first thoughts were, boy, I hope, Kmart doesn't follow them, and luckily they haven't.
You know what? They already said they have somebody for the Sears building already.
Well, they're probably negotiating with somebody. The two big questions will be whether, and they said that, whether they subdivide it or, you know, somebody takes it over. You know, the whole operation. Because if you remember, the last couple of stores that went there, they subdivided them.
Yeah, and the old, yeah, where the restaurants were.
Well, where Helly's was, I think it was Helly's. That's the one it became Burlington.
Yeah, Burlington.
And then Burlington, when they broke Burlington up and moved, they're still not using the top floor at Burlington. There's an escalator that goes nowhere.
Wow.
But, you know, I'm sure that the Cafaro chain is working on something. But, you know, Lloyd, the big stores, like, I laughed. Somebody blamed Obama for Sears going on. I'm going, you know, the real problem is us. We don't shop there no more. People, you know, people don't shop. They have gotten away from the big box stores like Penny's and Sears.
It's easier just to buy stuff online.
Yeah, or they niche shop at, they'll go up to Greg or Best Buy.
Right.
But did you hear on JCPenney they have appliances now?
They have what?
Appliances.
Yeah, well, everybody's trying to figure out how they can get some more market share. Look at McDonald's. They're messing around with things that they never went into, and you had other chains trying things they never did, and everybody.
Taco Bell serves breakfast now, and McDonald's now serves breakfast all day and something like that. So
yeah, they're all trying something, but at the end of the day, Lloyd, it's a crazy market. But internet is changing everything the way we do it.
Oh yes. Well, I'm going to let somebody else call.
Okay, but if if nobody calls, feel free to call back.
I will. All right.
Thanks for calling, Lloyd.
It's like a big thing like governments are facing now is, it sounds trivial and it sounds like, we're money grabbers, but just think about it. The 6% sales tax a lot of times isn't charged on the internet.
Right.
So you put merchants that got a brick and mortar store,
they're
already in a whole 6%.
Right.
Not only that, they got overhead. So, the more you go shopping on the internet, well, I don't blame anybody. Okay, that's jobs lost. That's real estate taxes lost. That's payroll taxes lost.
There may not be a way to get that back because the way things are going. I mean, I hate to admit it, but I don't like to go to malls. I just hate the whole rush,
and I think,
bustle. I don't want to go there.
But in answer to that, okay, a lot of people are going to what I call the niche stores. You go up to, you go on the periphery of the mall and you got like Best Buy or something like that, okay?
Yeah.
People like that. But even with the case of like Best Buy and Greg and other stores, people go in there and shop around and then they'll go and buy on the internet.
Yeah, that they do.
I mean, they're doing it.
I like to go in Best Buy and buy like floor models because then you get better deals than you can get online, and they're usually pretty decent.
I mean the ones they had on the floor?
Yeah, they
had. As long as they're not burned out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because they have a tendency to run the screens pretty hot. Bright to get your attention.
I don't mind used stuff and old stuff. I kind of like that better sometimes.
But it creates a whole problem when you look at like the city. You're talking about people don't want to do business here, businesses.
Yeah.
And everybody wants government to figure out a way to bring. You can't. It's.
That actually reminds me of a question we talked about. I'm not sure when because I didn't write the date down, but. The biofuels place, why did they come here? What attracted them to Erie?
I think it was a combination. I wasn't on council then, but it was a combination of the availability of the land.
Right.
And I think they did get some incentives to come here.
And we can still do that, right?
Sure,
as a city,
absolutely.
as a council, you can.
In fact, we're talking again now about trying to figure out a way to bring back some of those incentives again.
Yeah.
Some of them you have to get permission from the Commonwealth to do them because they involve the state also.
Right.
And a lot of them were very successful a few years ago when they tried to market the land along the waterfront that was near the sewer plant.
Yeah.
Which was not very attractive.
Yeah.
you know, on the own, but you've had some businesses on the east side of that Bayfront Highway in there now. Smith's Provision, we, years ago, we gave them a break. They opened up a plant off of, I think it was off of 12th Street. It's like a cooling plant where they...
Oh, yeah,
they store their...
West 12th, they got a big Smith sign on it.
Yeah, because they need more room, you know, they're getting bigger and bigger.
Sure.
And your insurance was a prime example. We gave them, I think, Keystones and Lerdas and all that, and in exchange for them, you know, building some of their headquarters. And
in the big picture of things, do Lerdas and what's the Sunshine Act or something, whatever all those things are, do they help us or hurt us?
No, I think it depends how you look at it. Now, you can look at the thing that happened on Summit, the Bush Industries.
Yeah.
And Bush had a record of, they'd come in for a couple of years, then they'd leave for a couple of years. You know, they go to the next bright star, right?
Yeah.
But if you, and this is where I think sometimes we don't do it right. You need to look at the businesses that are local that need a hand, okay? To be honest, Erie Insurance isn't going anywhere, probably.
Yeah.
Okay? Realistically. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt to help them.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't hurt to help, you know, Smith's or some of the other local companies that, as they're expanding, and we have loans available for companies that want to expand, even small companies. Things as simple as a Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
You laugh at that, but if they want to expand, you know, or McDonald's, they could apply for it.
Right.
You know, and as long as it creates jobs and creates a business that's going to stick around and be a tax-paying entity.
Yeah. I'm assuming there's a number of businesses that just can't shift their workforce overseas either, so that's a benefit to us.
Yeah, and some want an excuse not to. So if you can, you know, if you read like a lot of communities, what they're doing around the country, you know, they're throwing, like especially down south, tax exempt zones, and all kinds of incentives, you know, free water, all that. So when you pile that in there and you say, you know, can we take the hit for 5 or 6 or 10 years?
Yeah.
And then hopefully this company's still going to be around. That's what you're betting on. In a lot of cases, you know, unless something bad happens, you can figure Smith's is going to be here.
Right.
You hope they will, you know, a local company.
Right.
And, you know, barring somebody buying them and moving them, would it have helped, you know, Kohler Beer? Who knows? You know, a lot of that stuff wasn't there in the old days, but yeah, I think it helps if there's a benefit to received on both sides. A lot of these things come with caveats that you have to guarantee so many employees or try your best to do it. But I don't think it's a bad idea because take Velocity Net. They're the ones that are moving in. You read about that?
No, I did not yet.
Yeah, they are deciding to move from Mill Creek into Erie.
Nice.
Yeah, and they're going roughly around where the old Rothrock building was on 10th and Sass, where Tony Guys was and all that area.
Oh, that's great.
So, you know, their plans call for renovating this one building, buying this other building and making it possibly a restaurant and offices. And you know, they do want some help. So, you know, those are the kind of things that, yeah, they're not bad. You know, if there's a good result from it.
Exactly. We need to offer them whatever we can that doesn't put us at risk of losing something.
See, like it was like a few years ago, the Mayor Flippy tried Lerdas all across the city. Now it was for everything from houses to garages.
Right.
You know, it opened up it wasn't just the certain zones, it was everywhere.
Right. How'd that work out, or was it?
In some cases it worked, you know.
Yeah. Now
those people are coming off the tax rolls.
Yeah.
Now you got to hope they don't leave or, you know.
Right, right.
So, you know, some of the houses were built, you know, with doing that, renovated. Yeah, I'm not against incentive programs as long as at the end of the day that you get something positive out of them.
Exactly. As long as the positives outweigh the negatives. If you're not losing money or losing people, then you should be doing it.
It's like your insurance. I've said for years, you know, they've taken all the incentives and all that, but at the end of the day, they have changed the landscape of that area.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And,
I'd like to see
and they've
more of
hired
that.
more people now.
I'd like to see us going out and actually bringing more businesses like that into the area, which hopefully with the new, the new transition to the new mayor's office, when that occurs, hopefully you'll be able to get together with them and get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, recruiting is a tough thing.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have the state is involved heavily too, because
right.
there are things you can and cannot do.
Well, you'll need all that information laid out, you'll need a script laid out, and then you need some wiggle room too, so you'll be able to say, hey, we might be able to offer this.
I'll give you a prime example of a project that's pending. Okay, Nick Scott wants to build on the lower bayfront,
Right,
near the library area.
sure. He owns that smokestack, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's part of it, yeah. Okay, so you look at that, and he's a practical businessman. Okay, he's not gonna build it unless it can make money.
Right,
Looking at it now, he probably figures, no, I can't, because I don't have the hotels that are subsidized by the taxpayers.
yeah,
So, he's waiting for this combination state program that's in limbo right now. That's the same program that renovated Bethlehem, Allentown, and they're in one other town, maybe Lancaster, that the state went along with it. They were not collecting their taxes,
yeah.
and those taxes could be used to be reinvested in the project. That's what, so everybody's waiting, and they go, well, why don't they? Well, there's a practical side of business too.
Yeah, sometimes you have to wait and sometimes you can't. 'Cause things are gonna suffer if you don't start moving. Like Erie in general, it feels like Erie's been suffering for a while.
Well, it has.
Everybody waits.
And you got a case where, a report showed this, that people are living out, they moved out to the suburbs, they abandoned the city.
Yeah,
Maybe that's a harsh term, but that's what it is. They abandoned it.
yeah,
But the county as a whole is not growing. Okay? It's stagnant or actually losing population slightly now.
right.
So those things are not good, okay? If you're a businessman, you're saying, what kind of population base do I have to work with?
Yeah, well, that's something we need to work on getting up or possibly combining with Mill Creek so that we can stop being, what is a third-class city? And at least
Well, that third-class city is a designation by government.
by government.
That
but
doesn't
we need
mean-
to have the larger population would allow them to designate us as a better class.
Well, if you want to go up to second-class city,
Yeah.
you have to be up as, you're going to have to be as big as Pittsburgh,
Oh,
okay? There's only one first-class and one second-class city in the Commonwealth.
oh, wow! I thought it was a little closer.
Dude, Philadelphia is a first-class city.
Oh, wow!
Pittsburgh is a second-class city. That doesn't mean they're,
What population do you need to get to second class?
I am not sure, I never looked at that, but it's not just population, it's government, and I'll give you an example. This is where it gets weird in Pennsylvania. Corey. There are two cities in Erie County.
Right,
What are they?
Erie.
Yeah,
Is it Corey?
yeah.
Okay.
Corey's a third-class city,
Wow. So we're equal with Corey.
right. St. Mary's, PA, where my wife comes from, third-class city, okay?
Yeah.
All right, Allentown, a little bigger than Erie, third-class city.
Sure. Sure.
Some of the cities are 60,000, like York and Reading.
Right.
They're third-class cities, okay? So the population is not just, it's the type of government you have. Now you take Mill Creek. Mill Creek is a first-class township, I think it is. Okay? It's the way you govern. Now, they could be at 50 or, they're about 50 to 55,000 roughly.
Yeah.
They're as big as some of the third-class cities in Pennsylvania, like Reading and York.
Not that I want to give them any ideas, but could they become a city?
Yes, and they had a study commission voted it down. Go ahead, caller.
Hey guys, as long as you're on the subject there of population, I think Erie would be ideal with about 70,000 people. We could get down to 70,000. I think we've got enough infrastructure and jobs and services for 70,000. But we keep bringing in more people. I think I saw in the paper the other day where we had another 35 or 45 folks that relocated here from foreign countries.
Right.
We really need to be down around 70,000. I think that's about all we can support, because we all know that the big jobs, the big manufacturing jobs are not coming back. I think this would be a really nice town with about 70,000.
Well, what's interesting is that the report that you read about, the comprehensive plan, that one Charles Buki did, he envisioned, what Erie at its high point was 138,000 when I was a young man. That was back in the, I'm guessing around 1954, when I was about 6 years old. And even when I was into high school, we were about 120s to 130,000. That's gone. Buki, I can't remember the exact number he came at, but I think he envisioned somewhere between 70 or 80 and no higher than 90. So he's probably in your ballpark.
That sounds about right to me. You know, we're a highly condensed town, especially on the east side where I grew up.
Right.
Have a lot of homes that are, you know, within 10 feet of the next home. And
well, what he envisions is kind of like he's given you an opportunity, he said, to like buy more property, kind of like what the suburbs look like, where, you know, you're not on top of your neighbor. And you know what? If by chance a miracle happened that the area came back, I mean, they could always readjust that, you know.
Correct.
You could do building projects again, but I don't think, like you say, I don't see it coming, you know.
Yeah, and obviously we're not going to see a drop from 100,000 to 70,000, but it just seems like it's kind of not a wise thing to bring in more folks that possibly be a burden to the...
Well, the problem I think they got with the I'm not saying it's a problem with the immigrants, but where are they going to put them on the suburbs? They can't afford the property, number one.
Exactly, and they like to have like folks from their home country, you know, live near them, so they sort of populate in certain areas, kind of like Erie was back in the 1910s and 1920s, where the Irish lived in one area and the Russians in another area and then Italians in a third area. So
you know what I like about your comment? I was talking with a gentleman that we talk about Little Italy, you know, down around 18th Street. And there were actually 5 pockets of Little Italys all across the city. But that was the major one. And what's interesting, he said in his talk one night was, he said, remember this, the Germans were there before the Italians. And what happened was each immigrant group would take over that neighborhood and keep it. If you remember when we were young, they were actually in pretty good shape, the neighborhoods. And then as those people got more educated and received better jobs, they moved out into other areas of the city.
Absolutely.
But
hey, one more, if I can change the subject, and another little tidbit that something that's on my mind constantly. I do live here and grew up here, but I travel a lot and I live out of town in the wintertime. Erie has become, in some areas, in Mill Creek too, very tacky. You have an awful lot of these paper signs that people have, Budweiser or Coca-Cola or a number of soft drinks, and you've got them, especially at some of the bars and taverns, the locally owned ones especially, although the chains do it too, is they will just plaster the outside of their tavern with these signs that look rather tacky. I have lived and visited in other places where they have an ordinance, and this might be something City Council might look at, where you have one sign, gives the name of your business. That's all you really need. You don't need 15 Budweiser and Bud Light and a number of other beverage signs on your pole outside or on the side of your wall. So,
do you live down in the Florida area in the winter?
Pardon me?
Do you happen to go down to Florida in the winter? Is that where you?
No, I go out to Arizona.
Oh, because, you know, it was interesting. When I was in Florida, they had this one community, and it was kind of like what Mill Creek tried to do with Sheets down by the peninsula.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
You had to keep the signs low. You couldn't, I mean, they had a whole mall almost, not a mall, but a plaza. You almost didn't know it was there. You know, they had one sign that said, like, West Palm Plaza or something like that, and they kept it like really nice and clean. Like you say, yeah, those signs, you know, I don't remember them when I was a kid being all over like that.
No, it is quite a bit of eye clutter, and I'll take a look out to Mill Creek, point out that way in their direction. There's a restaurant, I won't mention it, you know what it is. It's 32nd and Peninsula Drive.
Right.
And they have got great food, popular place, but my goodness, what an eyesore with all the signs of Budweiser and Bud Light, 6 packs to go kind of signs all over the place, as opposed to a chain Italian restaurant that has just their sign out front and very nice curb appeal.
There's actually a movement downtown with we have the Downtown Improvement District, and they've been talking about trying to limit signage and lights and everything. I've heard this, I don't know what they're going to come up with.
I was just going to say, if you work on any signage ordinance, you could force people to have digital signage. You're allowed to have one certain size large digital sign, and any ads you're going to have, you can take pictures and put them on that.
Yeah.
But the rest of the signage is just not.
Well, we do, sir, we do have limits on signs, like even out on East 38th Street.
Mm-hmm.
The sizes, but I'm not sure if how we approach. That's an interesting one, and I'm gonna have to talk to someone in like zoning about whether there's anything that says, that covers the clot signs and all that,
Right, it's not an expensive fix. I mean, if we were to pass an ordinance that says that, let's say, I'll give the name Dowling's Tavern on 12th Street or
Right.
Maples up here off of 26. If we passed an ordinance that said, look, you can have your one sign, but not all these temporary Budweiser and Bud Light signs, that doesn't cost the city anything because these folks just have to take it down and clean it up, and it looks a lot better when we've got folks coming in off the interstate heading for entertainment downtown. We don't have to pass through all that stuff. So yeah, I've got to run, Kaz. Good talking to you.
Hey, thank you. Nice comments.
Yes, sir.
I love his comments about where the city's heading.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be that way, but even the things about like those signs. I don't remember them when I was younger. I really don't. Not like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey there, Cass. Talking about signage, I remember there are some rules about signage. Remember back in, I think in 76, they put those banners on the telephone poles recognizing us as a bicentennial city and all that.
Right.
But there are rules that regulate how far signs can stick out over sidewalks and stuff like that, and what type of material, because the ones they use for the bicentennial, they eventually would tear and have to be taken down. I've got a question though. You're a man of travel, and as far as I'm concerned, maybe a man who has connections. Would you look into seeing if Amazon could maybe move a warehouse into Erie? It'd be, kind of like you got the airport, you got the transportation by the ocean, but most of all, you got between Buffalo and Cleveland and Pittsburgh might be a good distribution point for Amazon to send things out by drone and that.
Well, do you remember the Fenestra plant?
Yeah.
Actually, the airport has their, they don't have offices there. They have, that's where the airport authority meets now.
Okay.
And it's pretty, I don't know if there's any activity in there. I'm not real positive. There might be some. But the whole deal, if you remember some time ago, we sent a delegation over to Germany.
Right.
And I was privileged to go there at that time. And this was all we were talking about. This had been going on for a number of years. And things were really ramping up about what was strange was the Germans, they had this long runway, which was previously used by the East German military. So they had a huge runway, but no infrastructure, like no roads, a lot of stuff around there. We had all the infrastructure at our airport, but the runway was too short. And we just couldn't time it right. But what you brought up was what they wanted to do. They wanted to ship goods into what they called a duty-free area, which would have been like Fenestra, that manufacturing plant, or any others they would have built in that area. And then their hope was that because of the proximity to Chicago, New York, and points south and north, they were hoping that the trucks or the trains could ship that merchandise, and that would have been what they called an air bridge to Eastern Europe. So you hit on what they wanted to do pretty much.
Well, we could even have included Canada since we're just across the lakes there. Yeah, I would be interested in seeing if something like that. I mean, I've been trying to think of any kind of business that would come to Erie that would be able to withstand the taxes and everything else the state has. But so a company that manufactures things would be hard to do. But something that maybe would distribute, like you say, warehouse-wise.
I think they had a deal where, I'm not positive on how far the deal went, but I thought besides the duty-free zone, they had things worked out with the state, and they keep talking every once in a while about places in Erie that, because of our proximity to Canada, and we're kind of in the middle of this huge part of the country where, Chicago's 500 miles east, New York's about 500, that's within truck range or train range,
We're basically in the middle of everything. We are at a point where they call a 270 degree, I can't remember the term, but something about 270 degrees. Basically, everything crosses through Erie. We've got Route 90, we've got 79, we've got the lake, and then we're right at the point where a lot of airplanes fly over Erie because they like to go south of the lake.
And what they loved about our airport was if we would have got, which we do now, if we would have had the long runway, it was an underutilized airport.
Yeah.
So they would have loved that because going into a big city, you got to play with the air traffic.
Right.
Or in Erie, they could land these big planes. Over the years, Doc, I've even heard talk about, maybe trying to get FedEx here or something.
Yeah, they moved down to North Carolina.
Well, they have one in Pittsburgh probably, don't they?
I don't know. I do know that one of the local branches moved down to North Carolina there, and I don't know if it was their main headquarters moved down here or what.
Well, we never had air freight up here, but next time I go to the airport meeting, I'm going to ask them if there are any more proposals about using that zone they have designated. But other areas around the city, they have talked over the years about trying to talk distribution centers into coming here.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about. It'd be nice even. I'd like to have a Kmart distribution center or something like that.
We are in the perfect spot. So why would we not take that information to these companies?
You don't know. Yeah, you don't know where they got them now. That's the problem. So you have to talk them into,
giving up that information.
Well, no, I mean, you try to propose what you got and try to talk them into, because, all these goods that go to Kmart, that go to McDonald's, everybody has their distribution point. The grocery stores have their own.
Yeah.
Okay, where do they have them? How do you become one of them?
Yeah.
That's what the.
There's one right up around Hamburg, New York, is one distribution point for food. Hey, DJ, before I forget, can you give me a call? Do you have any means of playing the old reel-to-reel tapes?
I do not have a player, but I know someone who does. I might be able to
Came across my old reel-to-reel tapes I made back in the 60s, and I'd love to transfer them to CDs or something.
Oh, Doc, you want to do that? Just go to Grisey.
Grisey.
But I'm a little bit more tight on my money.
Oh, okay.
I don't have one myself.
Yeah, they'll do a job that's perfect.
I've had them do many things. So
they did all mine, and was
Don't get me wrong, I do like them, but I got to watch my pennies for a while here.
I'll keep an eye out for you.
You got to be careful because when you transfer them, there are machines out there you can buy and stuff.
Right.
Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Hey, you worked for Best Buy. Remember Best Bake? Didn't you?
I mean, Better Bake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, when we, things like when we had the Vandekamp fish out there and stuff.
Right. They bought Vandekamp building up there, and they do something up there now with their pasta lines.
Yeah, those are the things we like to see because you know what? They're kind of like you're making stuff up here and shipping it out.
Yeah, they distribute right out. They were, I don't know if they still are, but I assume they still are making pizza for all New York City school systems.
Yeah, and that's a good thing when you can do that,
Yeah, they do good. They're good work. They have a good business going there. And,
but I'm going to bring your idea up to get to the airport when I'm out there, just to see if they have any plans in the oven anymore.
Here's what I'm looking at, Kaz. and maybe you can approach it from that point. Remember, they're talking about trying to make distribution by way of drones.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, the airport would be a good place. Of course, you have to be careful where the drones are taken off from, but at least the airport can keep regulation over the drones that way too.
Yeah, well, now these restaurants want to do it too, like Pizza Hut.
Right.
So, I mean, that thing's going to be that thing's going to have to be decided by the FAA and stuff.
I'm curious. Can they fly those drones in rain and snow?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It might not be too feasible for our area.
There's some debate about whether they want these drones flying at random over people's houses and.
No, if they can't fly them in the bad weather, that's when they'll use the Google cars that drive themselves and just throw the pizza in the back seat.
Hey, you don't want these drones dropping in on your housetop either, you know?
Yeah, I don't have any faith in any of that. We don't need that.
If I find one up here, I'm keeping it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're still a little worried about, like, you notice all of a sudden, you know, they tested these cars in Pittsburgh, and now the government's saying, well, whoa, let's slow down before we just, you know, just stick them all out in the highway. We really don't know how good they are yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, they're doing a lot better on them, but guess what? I just got done reading one of the latest Smithsonian magazines. They're still working on flying cars, and they're coming up with some designs that, with the wings that fold back onto the car, kind of like an armadillo type arrangement. And
yeah, they've talked about that, but
why?
But then again, now you're gonna have to get a pilot's license too.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. I'll give you one last little humor here. I don't know if you, and DJ will probably like this one. I don't know if you heard about the kamikaze instructor. He told his class, I want you to watch me do this very closely because I'm only going to do it once.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Someday when I see a doc, I'll tell you the other joke I learned.
All right. You gotta get in touch with me. I try to call you so many times, and I get a busy signal, or not busy signal, but your mailbox is full and all that, so I can't even leave a message for
I
you.
get calls starting at 6:30 and 7 in the morning.
Well, you want me to call you at that hour?
No, no, because you'll get a return call at that time. See you, Doc.
Get up at 4:30 and start praying nowadays.
I'm just going to bed at 4:30 sometimes.
Well, I'll pray you get at least a few weeks of sleep then.
Well, you know what they say, you can sleep when you're dead, right?
That's the best of it, yep.
Yep.
But of course, being Santa, I get to sleep during the day.
There you go.
All right, you guys have a great day.
You too, Doc.
Good to see you.
Thanks for calling. I wanted to touch on the previous caller's statement about the immigrants. Number one, we're all immigrants, so
Yeah.
stopping immigrants from coming in.
What he's saying is that, they're bringing them in here.
Yeah.
But what
They're not really building the population that much. We've got, 4,000 people right now that are
I'm not sure, DJ, I'll say this, I'm not sure we know, I don't think we're being counted properly.
That's a good possibility, but
I don't think let me say this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a huge windfall.
Yeah.
But I think it does bring us over 100,000 again.
Yeah.
The school district has a better idea than anybody else how many kids are here.
Sure.
Because even if you're an illegal,
Yeah.
okay, you can still show up at a schoolyard.
Yeah.
Okay, and those things are being. So, I mean, I think what the gentleman said is we're bringing more people here when we can't. Well, what they're doing is they're taking over the houses, a lot of them, that the people have abandoned.
That's what I was just going to actually talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of the dilapidated houses. Why could we not set up a program where we take those houses, take them back, fix them up to minimum standards so that, we can just give them away?
Well, redevelopment kind of does that.
Well, if we don't do that, we should.
Yeah.
Because every street you go down, there's at least one.
We are seriously pursuing some programs now because, first of all, taking property in Pennsylvania is a very difficult thing. There are hoops. Yeah, hoops and whistles and bells that you have to jump through before you can take somebody's property, even though it's in bad shape. And then once you get
for
that,
5 years, and
even when you take it, you got to hope it's replaceable. So they're trying to figure out some programs where we can get interested people and give them a break to renovate property.
Yeah.
And yes, they're gonna make money, absolutely.
Sure.
But so hopefully will the redevelopment and ultimately the city in the long run. Those are things, you know.
I'd rather see a developer making some money on it than
see the house
sitting
right.
there
And I agree.
flaking.
It's not like we're not doing it. It's,
Yeah.
they're looking at it. There's a lot of hoops and, once again, there's things you know, we're trying to research state law, and some of the legislators are being contacted about coming up with new innovative programs, making it easier for cities to take, you know, blighted property back before it becomes totally blighted.
Right.
You know, because I have people come up to me all the time and say they'd be willing to do it, but they want a break, you know, expunge the taxes, do this and that, because it's going to take a lot of money to renovate it. So what do? Do you let it sit there and rot, you know?
Yeah.
Where nobody's going to buy it probably? And yeah, I don't think what I think the gentleman was getting at was with all these immigrants coming here,
Yeah.
but they're taking over the old houses, and it's really not stressing the city yet, because, I mean, the other people are moving out, but
Yeah, I didn't think he was, you know.
But I think what we want to see is we want to see those people become successful,
Yeah.
you know, get jobs. And,
Well, the way we could help them is what I was, you know, trying, like I said, I wasn't trying to say that he was making them
No,
look
no,
bad,
he
but
wasn't, I know.
If we could take the fact that they're coming in and put them in these houses.
and that's what a lot of them do. We're still looking at it. Go ahead, caller.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Howdy.
I don't know if you rode down East Avenue from 38th. Every corner is marked with national fuel flags. Every corner, both sides of the street. So I don't know what they're going to be doing.
On East 38th.
No, on East Avenue.
Oh, East Avenue.
The one they just paved.
Oh, no.
Who's got it marked?
That's coming because they was out there last week. I asked the guy what he was doing. He said they're going to put new lines in.
No, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But
I hope the lines are on the sidewalk and not in the street.
well, mine is on a sidewalk, but I have it across the street. I know they have a machine that tunnels under the road.
Yeah.
I watched them up the street one day go from one side to the other. It works pretty sick.
Yeah, they had one, and I was in Virginia one time, and they were digging this huge, it was a huge pipe to take the water, the flood water away. It was in Roanoke, Virginia. They actually used a subway cutter. It was designed special for the city. And what they did was they didn't want to tear up all the streets in the city. So they would drop this thing down every so often and then run it.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they could, where, you know, they weren't going to interfere with nothing.
Right.
And then lay the pipe in there.
Great.
But I'll try to go upstairs to engineering and find out what's going on.
I don't know, but every street from the 32nd Street, I think.
32nd heading south?
Yeah, up to 37th. No, right to 38th. Yeah.
Oh, that's strange because, yeah, they just paved that.
If they have plans for stuff like that, they should have to have them on the table before.
Well, if they're doing the sidewalk, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Okay. If they're doing the street, that's a whole different issue.
The flags are on both sides of every corner. Both sides of the street. Getting back to the signs on these buildings.
Yeah.
I called you last year about the one on 28th and Parade. I think it's utterly hideous, ridiculous.
Oh, you mean the one at that bar there?
Up with the signs that they have on their outside wall.
Yep. I don't think there's anything, and that's just something we're going to have to look at, that I don't think there's anything that prevents them.
I know it's not very attractive.
No, and that other gentleman said the same thing. They're starting to get to be kind of like obnoxious.
Yep.
You know, because they blow away in the wind and they're flapping, and
Yeah.
you know, it's one thing to have a painted wall on the side of the building, but
My last comment is, last couple of weeks, I've had 2 trucks picking up my garbage. But the other day, this past Friday, one truck, everything. So I don't know what's going on.
again,
And what they flip a coin to see if everything goes in one truck or they use 2 trucks.
You know what I'm gonna have to do? What time do they collect your garbage? Same time as me, like late at night?
They picked between, well, they were really early this week. 11:30 they were picking it up. But normally it's about 10 minutes to 12 o'clock, just about every Thursday night.
Maybe I should someday have you call me, and I'll run down there and just kind of watch them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not too far from you. You're on East Avenue.
Yep.
And I'm just up on Stanley there.
I know where you live.
Yeah, maybe I should take a ride down. I see them sometimes coming to my house. I get 2 trucks. But for some reason, you're getting 1 again.
Again, yep. But the 2 weeks prior to that, it was 2 trucks. Pick up the refuse, but they pick up the newspapers and the recyclables.
Yeah.
Because I have mine separated. I don't know why I do it, but I do it.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I wonder that too, but...
I've been told you can put the plastics and the papers all together, but
Okay, I'll let somebody else talk.
Yeah, we're almost ready to go off though, but...
Yeah, we got a couple minutes left.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, thanks for calling. And with that, in the last couple of minutes, I just wanted to touch base
Well, we actually got a little bit more, so...
We got 3 minutes left.
No,
we already got the high
We're going to
sign.
go over, I think.
He gave us the
Oh,
high
he
sign.
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
We gave the high sign. So we got a couple minutes, but I just wanted to touch base on something I got coming up on October the 14th.
Okay.
It's an anime convention. I talked about it the last time I was on.
Oh, that's so...
Blurry Con. It's an anime comic book type of... Manime? Yeah,
Anime.
that's okay. That's coming up on the 14th through the 16th. If anybody wants, they can go to blurrycon.com. Check it out. You can get tickets. You can get them at the door. It's going to be all weekend. It's going to be fun. People come from out of town. We have special guests. We have people bring in special video games. Playports bring in arcade cabinets. And it's going to be pretty big. So I hope that we see some of you there. Just come check it out. It's going to be pretty big. So I wanted to make sure. Oh, hey, yeah.
And while you're at it, right?
Yeah.
I see you guys are Community Access Television. Under many fundraising endeavors.
That we do.
So if somebody wants to contact me, you can contact me through City Hall, or you can call Cat TV.
Yep.
And we are, well, you, right?
We are...
2 front row tickets to a Cleveland Brown Pittsburgh Steelers game.
Yeah, because I heard this is like a Browns or Steelers town. I know half of it's Browns.
It's a Browns town.
It's a Browns town, and some people maybe like the Steelers. I'm not sure, but these are good tickets.
Yes, and it's a November 20th game, and yeah, you can call me at home.
You can call me at work, 454-2226. What is it, $5 a ticket or 5 tickets for $25?
To help Cat TV.
Something, I forgot what. There was actually a deal. If you buy more tickets, you get like an extra ticket.
And we can help Cat TV that way.
It helps Cat TV, which means I get to keep my job longer and I get to stay in city of Erie.
Free broadcast number.
Well, yeah.
I love some of your
You got that.
shows on there.
I don't care about the programming. I just want to keep my job. I want to stay in the city. I've lived in this city for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not a, I wasn't born here, but I really like this city. I appreciate a lot of the stuff the government's tried to do. I don't like some of the things that have happened, but I still love the city.
We still got to take this show over there at least one night.
We're going to do that. I'm actually building 2 new sets over there at CAT right now.
For us?
Yeah, so it's just a spot where we could sit down and say, hey, we got a desk, we have a news type area.
For those that want us to have a night show,
Yeah, we could do that. I've got the...
And poor Mikey can have a day off once in a while.
Mike gets a day off, and that's what it's all about. And speaking of Mike having time off, we are done. Thank you for calling Taxpayers Hotline. Thank you for having me again. I don't know how I keep ending up here, but it's fun. Thank you, and good night.
I'll go clean up there.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.